What's good, motherfuckers? It is I, your old pal Jay, your buddy. I'm here, the Bishop of Bull Moose, to do the thing that I like to periodically do and to complain about the boutique companies that release Blu-rays that we all love to buy. We love to fork our money over to these companies to get these sweet, sweet box sets and slip covers and all that good shit. Trust me, I'm an addict too, so I get it. And today, the company that I will be turning my focus on is none other than Shout slash Scream Factory. Public service announcement for the duration of this video. I will be using the words scream and shout, possibly factory, but definitely scream and shout interchangeably. Please rest assured that I am talking about the entire corporate entity that I believe is more properly known as Shout Studios, but they also are responsible for a few other smaller lines, but kind of important ones. They do one called, I think, G Kids, which is their anime. It's like their anime wing, but it's like family friendly anime. So it's like all their Studio Ghibli shit that I actually have all of. I bought every single Studio Ghibli steelbook that they've put out because I like showing them to my kids. So suffice it to say, I am a customer of Shout Studios. I will, for the foreseeable future, given their upcoming slate of releases, I will, for the foreseeable future, be a customer of Shout Studios. I buy their Ghibli films, as I just mentioned. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I don't know. Kiss my ass. Fucking weebs. Anybody that corrects me on the pronunciation of Ghibli or Ghibli is a fucking weeb, and you know it, and the whole internet is going to know it if you leave a comment below telling me I mispronounced the shit. Weeb, don't do it. Everyone's going to know you're a weeb for the rest of time. Anyway, I bought all their Studio Ghibli and or Ghibli films on Steelbook, and if they release more, I will buy more because my 5-year-old especially loves those films. Motherfucking Ponyo. You don't want to know how many times we watched Ponyo. I fucking love Ponyo. Anyway, I mean, fuck the Little Mermaid. Shit. Fuck you, Ariel. I'm watching fucking Ponyo. You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, I own a pile of Scream releases and Shout Factory releases, and there's more to come. So look, I've bought a lot of Shout Factory stuff. I think I have purchased the right to make these complaints that I'm about to make. So I do like to start out by saying a few nice things about the boutiques. Of course, I shop from these boutiques. This is me complaining. It's not a serious major indictment, okay? What's great about Shout slash Scream Factory is that over the past couple of years, probably the last, 3 or 4 years, they really have gone all in on the 4K format, which is great. They're releasing a lot of bangers, a lot of really great films that are essential to any person's library. Anybody who likes horror films and 80s movies, especially, the Shout Studios slate of films, their releases that they've licensed are necessary films to have in your collection in many cases. They've got some really wonderful box sets they've put out as well. That Friday the 13th box set, that thing is killer, man. I mean, they've sold a lot of copies of that to their credit. So I think it's great that they're really going all in on the 4K format because we've gotten a lot of great films from them in that format. And it's great because their transfers are usually great. I mean, they've got like maybe very good is kind of like their floor. I don't think I've ever watched one that I thought this is bad. This is not good. They're all at least very good, and some of them do enter conversations about great, fantastic, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 4Ks. So I think it's great. They're very trustworthy in terms of their quality. Shout Factory slash Scream Factory, like any other boutique Blu-ray. I mean, anybody who releases physical media on disc these days, any company that does it does occasionally release a mulligan, a disc that's fucked up for some reason. Audio's fucked up, or the video, there's special features missing, or Dolby, or whatever. Like fucking Warner Archive just did it with Just Friends. So it happens to everybody. It does happen to Shout Factory. In fact, I think the most recent time it happened to me was I purchased the Labyrinth 4K Steelbook. And one of the discs in that release was defective for some reason. I remember reading about it online. I hadn't even watched it yet. So Shout Factory made it very easy to correct that. They just had a little web form you fill out, you send them a pic of your receipt, and within a couple of weeks, I had a replacement disc in my possession. And so I will say also to their credit that, no boutique is perfect, but Shout slash Scream, they do a very good job of getting replacement discs out. They acknowledge error when there's an issue, and I've never had a problem getting a replacement from them or had to call and call and call again and wait 6 weeks. Whatever. It's always fast. It's always efficient. So I got to say, I appreciate them for that. Also, in a huge win for Shout Studios, they secured the almost worldwide rights to the Golden Princess catalog, which is fucking huge. I don't know if you know. If you don't know and you're watching this channel, if you're one of the select 250 motherfuckers watching this channel and you don't know what Golden Princess is, how did you get here? Because you ought to know what Golden Princess is. If you don't, it's a massive library of Hong Kong cinema films. Golden Princess was a distribution studio of Hong Kong cinema films, including the likes of John Woo, Jet Li, some really, really big stuff. Legendary films like The Killer. That's my favorite personally, right there. Hard Boiled is a lot of people's favorite. It's up there for me, but it's not quite the level of The Killer. The Killer is like just a little bit ahead of Hard Boiled, the Better Tomorrow trilogy of films. Fist of Legend, Jet Li's Fist of Legend. Y'all motherfuckers seen Fist of Legend? If you haven't, man, you're in for a treat. Even if you don't like martial arts movies very much, there's just something about Fist of Legend. It's just so fucking balls to the wall. I mean, he takes that dude by the head and just fucking. These are just incredible films that they now Shout Studios now has a license to, and they're now starting another sub label, which is the Hong Kong Cinema Classics sub label, and they're going to be getting a lot of my money that way. I hope my wife can't hear me. They're going to be getting a lot of our money that way. Like my kids aren't going to college thanks to the Hong Kong Cinema Classics subline of Shout Studios, but then they go and put 5 Jet Li movies, including the epics Fist of Legend and the Tai Chi Master, in this lame box that's like a grab bag of shit that he made in 1993 and 1994. That's the only shit these movies have in common. They're all unrelated except for 2 of them. One of them's a sequel to the other. So 2 of them are related. The Feng Sai movies, those are related. Put those in their own box set and get them the fuck out of here. The other 3 movies in this box set are completely unrelated films. The only thing they have in common is that it came out in either 1993 or 1994. To me, that doesn't make a box set. They got the same guy in them and they came out the same year. Let's throw them together in the same box set. I don't really appreciate that. I mean, Fist of Legend absolutely deserves its own chunky box set with rigid slipcase and thick book of written materials. And I would also say the Tai Chi Master does too, but that's more of a subjective valuation of mine since the Tai Chi Master is my favorite Jet Li movie. I fucking love the Tai Chi Master. I don't think it's as popular in the United States as Fist of Legend is, but I do believe that aficionados of Hong Kong cinema, of martial arts films of that particular era would tell you that Fist of Legend is an absolute classic. It's one of the high water marks. It's one of the movies that people absolutely should point to if we're talking about martial arts movies of the early and mid 90s. You talk about martial arts movies like pre-Matrix 90s martial arts movies from Hong Kong, Fist of Legend absolutely needs to be, from a historicity standpoint, and is just that fucking badass. It needs to be at the absolute top of any discussion about martial arts films from Hong Kong of that era. Fist of Legend, first thing that comes to your mind, or you're an idiot. That's really, there's no 2 ways about it. Much like me, below the waist, Shout really doesn't offer many things that are chunky, rigid, and thick. Sorry, honey. I really like what they did with their JFK box set. Actually, I really like what they did with that. That's one film, like 10 different versions. I don't know. It's like, how many fucking director's cuts do they have of this movie? I think they've got like 8 different versions of JFK available in this box set, spread across like 17 discs. But what I will say is that I like what they did with the presentation of that. But that's the exception with Shout Studios rather than the rule. They almost never do big, thick, chunky box set releases for a single film. They'll cram a whole bunch. They'll cram 4 or 5 different films that are completely unrelated into a box set and say, okay, this is your Hong Kong cinema box set of Chinese movies where they all speak Chinese, and we put them in a box set together. But they don't do a lot of stuff like what they did with JFK here, and that's a shame because I think that some releases, especially some of the ones that are coming up in this Hong Kong Cinema Classics line, this is a line that like there's a lot of nostalgia for me. These are movies that I was watching back in the mid 90s, like 94, 95, 96. These are movies that I was watching. I was buying them on video cassette and watching them shits and borrowing them from my fucking Chinese friend and fucking ripping them shits on because I had 2 VCRs stacked up. I used to love doing that. But I think that there are some films that absolutely deserve the kind of treatment that, let's say, Ignite gave to their Reanimator 4K or that Grindhouse Releasing gave the Beyond 4K. Those are just kind of 2 recent ones that pop to mind. But you've got a lot of companies, including Ignite and Grindhouse Releasing. Those are a little bit smaller with fewer releases, but Vinegar Syndrome does it. TerraVision did it recently with Dance or Die. Arrow obviously does chunky box sets. I think Arrow is kind of the godfathers of chunky box sets. I do wish that Scream and Shout Factory would do more stuff like that for some of their bigger titles. I mean, the John Woo stuff especially is a huge get. It's a huge get. And then to release something like Ringo Lam's City on Fire and just, it's just a little Amaray case with a cheap cardboard paper slipcover on it, and there you go fuck yourself. It just doesn't seem like we all know as fans, like this is a big release. This is a big get. This is a big deal to us. Can you guys please make it a fucking big deal too? Because I'm gonna buy it either way. But like, let me be happy about the purchase. Don't make me fucking grumble about cramming Fist of Legend. I can't wait to watch Fist of Legend in 4K. I'm gonna pull my whole fucking dick out when I watch that. I gotta wait till the kids go to bed because I'm definitely watching that movie with my whole dick out. That Fist of Legend is fucking Tai Chi Master also. I'm gonna fucking drop acid and just do like all 5 of those fucking Jet Li movies like back to back. I'm gonna start at like 9 in the morning one day. Kids go off to school. I'm gonna take the day off of work, drop acid, and watch Jet Li all fucking day. But I'd like to be happy about the packaging of that at least. I mean, I'm gonna have fun dropping acid and watching Jet Li all day, but I'm totally gonna do kung fu on these motherfuckers when they get home too. Like, jack, you know. Anyway, I think the killer should get a big, beautiful box. That actually could be a good nickname for my wife's vagina as well. I'm in trouble if she watches this. Continuing with the packaging gripes, I find their 4K slipcover art kind of boring. Most of the time, it's just the theatrical poster. By comparison, their Blu-ray slipcover art is usually much better. Their Blu-ray slipcovers are always feature custom artwork, and the upgrades to 4K are by comparison kind of bland. Like the 4Ks have that band across the top that you can see here, that band across the top that says 4K Blu-ray, whatever's in there. You don't have that on the Blu-ray. It's much more subtle on the Blu-ray. And also, they give the Blu-ray custom artwork. Why is the upgrade? Why is the 4K upgrade? Why does that slipcover have worse art than the Blu-ray? Those slipcovers are less effort. For example, this is the Blu-ray slipcover for Scream Factory's Sleepaway Camp 2, which they released on Blu-ray in 2015. So this Blu-ray came out in 2015 here. Now, I don't love the art. It's not my favorite piece of art. And if I had this as a poster, I don't believe I would hang it up on my wall. But it is custom artwork. They paid an artist to produce this piece of artwork, and it doesn't exist anywhere else. When this was released in 2015, it was the very first time you ever laid eyes upon this artwork, which I will say is a little bit higher effort. They're commissioning an artist, it's brand new stuff, it's only for this particular release, and it didn't exist previously on other releases, earlier DVDs or anything like that by Anchor Bay or whatever. So it honors the original artwork. But again, it's new, it's unique. And now here is the 4K art that they just announced, like earlier this week, just a couple of days ago as I'm recording this. This is the art from the original poster. You've seen this art 100 times over the last 20 years or so since they've been releasing this shit on physical media. Some might say that this is iconic. In fact, that's how a lot of people have been responding to this artwork, as if they didn't know this is exactly what fucking Scream Factory was going to put on there. They've done it with every other fucking release. They did it with every fucking thing they've put out on 4K. They just used the original poster. You know what it's going to be. When they announce it, you don't have to look. You know what it's going to be. So there, it's iconic, fine, but I think reusing the artwork is kind of lazy, in my opinion. Something that Shout and Scream Factory do very well is to oftentimes include posters with pre-orders of the film. So, you could always just give people the poster that has the original artwork on it and still commission new artwork for the slipcover. I mean, Scream Factory could always include a poster of the iconic original art in the chunky box set that they're not going to fucking release. Speaking of slipcovers, they have to put this extra annoying little fucking hole on the back of their slipcovers. You see where my finger is going? This little unnecessary fucking hole, right? They put this extra hole on all of their slipcovers, and I don't like it. I don't like this extra hole because it makes the whole thing feel cheap. I mean, if you own slipcovers from a company like Vinegar Syndrome or any of their partner labels, their former partner labels, Terror Vision, Fun City Editions, any of these guys. I mean, there's actually now several companies that do these nice, thick slipcovers with custom art, wrap around, no 4K banding at the top, no extra bullshit, just artwork wall to wall, wrapped around the whole fucking slipcover on like a thick premium cardboard without this extra fucking hole. It makes this thing feel cheap. It really does make this thing feel cheap. You take a slipcover off of one of your Scream Factory releases, and it feels like you could just ruin this thing without any effort at all. Fucking Assault of the Party Nerds, part 1 and 2 double feature, has a nicer slipcover than any Scream Factory release because the Shout slipcovers are thinner than my fucking dick and have almost as many holes. This little window hole right here, there used to be a purpose. It's an entirely vestigial relic of the retail era, a day and age only remembered by crusty old fuckers like my man Fuzz. Back in the day, you could take an expensive movie. You could grab like a movie that was 30 bucks and you could take a cheap slipcover. You could take a slipcover off a $10 movie and you could slip the $30 movie into the $10 slipcover. And if the barcode was on the slipcover, when they rung you up, you'd only pay the $10 and you'd walk out with a $30 movie clandestinely hidden inside that $10 slipcover. So you were essentially stealing the remaining $20 difference in value. You were essentially stealing it. It was an unscrupulous thing that people would do. Plus, then you'd have a slipcover that didn't match the movie that you just fucking embezzled or whatever the fuck. I understand they didn't want people stealing the $20 worth of value or whatever the difference was. I made a single example, but so somebody clever thought up this little window, if we put this little window here, then whatever movie's in there, they'll scan the movie that's in there, right? The piece of cardboard itself doesn't have a barcode on it. So you can't possibly slide a different movie in. Or you could, but it wouldn't matter because they would scan the actual movie itself, the Amaray case, and not the slipcover. So you couldn't actually steal any difference in value between a slipped movie and a non-slipped movie. And that certainly solved the problem, I'm sure, of that particular little heist, but also that was 47 fucking years ago, and nobody buys movies at a retail store anymore. When's the last time you bought a movie at Best Buy, motherfuckers? You haven't done that shit since 2023, because they haven't sold that shit since 2023. Add to that none of the other boutique labels use this stupid fucking vestigial hole anymore, and it just makes the Scream Factory slipcovers feel like a shitty studio slipcover. I mean, it feels like some Walmart shit. The slipcover game has evolved, and Shout Studios have not kept up. And that's why Assault of the Party Nerds has a better slipcover than prestigious Shout Factory releases of popular films that have that stupid fucking hole in them. It's dumb. It is dumb. Now, to their credit, Shout Factory does put out steelbooks. Not everybody does that. Arrow will do that very sporadically. I mean, I feel like Arrow puts out just a couple of steelbooks a year. They could put out a couple of Conan steelbooks. Dog, I would have bought those. And the chunky Conan Chronicles. I would have fucking double dipped. And of course, Criterion Collection, Vinegar Syndrome, all of the former part and current partner labels. I mean, they don't put out steelbooks. So really, the when it comes to boutique labels, there's not a lot. I mean, you can get your Disney and your MCU steelbooks, sure, but really, when it comes to boutique labels, Shout and Scream Factory are really the only game in town for steelbooks, with a little, like a smattering, a few a year from Arrow. But and I do prefer typically the artwork of their Escape from New York notwithstanding. I mean, they do have some pretty good, not this, but some of their artwork is pretty good on their steelbooks. And so I typically tend to, if I have the option, I will buy the steelbook over a slipcase version of the film. So there is a bit of a problem with that too, and it's because they stagger their releases. For instance, what I'm talking about is that they released My Bloody Valentine on Blu-ray in the Blu-ray format in 2020. Doesn't seem like so long ago, but that was about 5 years ago. Then they turned around and they released My Bloody Valentine in a Blu-ray steelbook in 2021, about a year later. Then they released it on 4K in 2023. So the only surprise to me now is that they haven't released the 4K steelbook yet. But I do believe that it's coming. I believe a My Bloody Valentine 4K steelbook is coming. And I believe that because they did the same shit with Escape from New York. They put out a Blu-ray in 2015. They put out a Blu-ray steelbook in 2017. They put out a 4K in 2022. And then the 4K steelbook landed late last year in 2024, towards the tail end of 2024. The obvious problem with this is that you might buy a Blu-ray not knowing that they're going to put out a 4K and then get upset a few years later when they put out the 4K. There was only about 7 years between the Blu-ray release and the 4K release. So you might get a little upset if you bought the Blu-ray and then a short while later, a couple of years later, they released the 4K. The same thing goes with you bought the 4K with a slipcover, and then a year and a half later, they released the 4K on Steelbook. If you're the type of person like me who would prefer to buy the film on Steelbook, then you're either buying the slipped version and reselling it later when the Steelbook comes out, or you're simply passing and hoping, crossing your fingers that the 4K Steelbook comes out. So that's a little bit of a pain in the ass, and I kind of wish they would just fucking release the Steelbook at the same time as the slipcover version, and then everybody'd be happy. If you don't give a fuck about Steelbooks, you have your slipcover version. If you do give a fuck about Steelbooks, then you know it's being released at the same fucking time, and you don't have to fucking wait, and you could just get the Steelbook version and not have to like buy the thing for $30 and then resell it later for $20 if you're lucky. Anyway, and I don't know how they fucked this one up, but apparently Scream Factory got snaked on the 4K rights to the first Sleepaway Camp, because that is the only reason that I can fathom for them to release Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 on 4K before releasing the first one. Now you rewind back to 2015 and Scream Factory had the rights to all three Sleepaway Camp films. They released Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, and 3 in very consistent slipcover versions. The artwork was consistent across the board, and they looked great sitting next to each other on a shelf. Now they're just releasing part 2 and 3. They didn't announce shit about part 1. The only reason I can think for that to be the case is because they don't have the 4K rights to part 1. Rumor on the internet is that Arrow has the 4K license for the first Sleepaway Camp. So part 2 and part 3 are all we're going to get from Scream Factory. Arrow is going to put out part 1 probably in a big chunky box, and everyone's going to do like a backflip. They're going to be happy about it until they bring that big chunky Arrow box home and realize They can't set it next to the skinny Scream Factory slip releases because they have an Arrow section of their collection and a Scream section of their collection, and they can't put an Arrow chunky box in with the Scream releases, and they can't put two little slipcover Scream releases in with their Arrow releases. So you're gonna have the Arrow's version of Sleepaway Camp 1 over here, and then you're gonna have Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 over here on a completely different fucking shelf because they got released by different people and the artwork is going to be inconsistent across all three of them. And that just sounds like a pedantic problem, and of course it is. But you want to put the fucking three movies next to each other, 1, 2, and 3, boom, boom, boom. And I'm glad I didn't buy the Sandpiper Blu-ray releases of Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 that they released late last year. Those poor bastards are so fucked. They're not going to sell another one of those motherfuckers. People have been spending the last 6 months buying up them fucking Sandpiper Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 releases, but they are done selling those bitches, I'm afraid, because here are the 4Ks. Why is anybody going to go back and buy these bare bones Sandpiper releases? These 4Ks are going to be pristine Scream factory quality and probably better special features as well. So I'm glad I didn't buy the Sandpiper releases. That was a wonderful and, let's face it, rare example of my dedication and my fortitude and my discipline. Frankly, this is not a household with a lot of discipline in it, and I blame myself. But I was honestly hoping for Scream to release a box set of all three Sleepaway Camps. I mean, how awesome would that be? Just take this JFK box set, right? Just pretend it says Sleepaway Camp all over it. It's got 3 Amaray cases in it, one for each movie, and you got all your special features, and you got a nice rigid case with great custom artwork on it. I would buy that fucking thing so fast it would be ridiculous, but they blew it. They blew it. They lost part 1, or they never had the 4K rights to part 1. And that might be the case. I mean, they put the Blu-rays out a decade ago, so maybe back then in 2015, 4K wasn't even on the radar. I don't know about you guys. 4K wasn't even on the radar back in 2015. And so maybe they never had the rights to the 4K. And maybe, Arrow swooped in several years back and scooped those 4K rights up, and that was that. But if Arrow got the rights to part 1, man, they should have got the rights to part 2 and 3. Because I don't give a fuck who puts out the Sleepaway Camp movies on 4K. I'm going to buy them. I'd rather it be one company doing all three. That's just me. So Scream Factory fucked that one up. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think it says something both about how incredibly pedantic I am, as well as how overall good Scream/Shout Factory is, that all I could complain about was their packaging and release schedule for 30 fucking minutes. The transfers are good. The special features are good. I don't have any massive complaints about what they've given us. I wish the presentation was a little bit better. I wish they'd get serious about the Tai Chi Master, but wish in one hand and ejaculate with the other, because that's what I'm going to go do next. I'm done filming this video. I'm going to drink this, and then peace. I'll see you motherfuckers on the flippy dippy. I love you.